Good morning, everyone. Okay, so we are discussing current affairs of second week of February. Okay, please collect a PPT of first week. Okay, from them. Okay, I have already given them last week. So many important current affairs. Okay, we could not conduct the class, but topics are very important. I finalized the PPT. You please collect from them. Okay. So first news article: President rule in Manipur. So we all know for the past 18-20 months, Manipur is burning due to ethnic clashes. Okay, ethnic clashes, and we need to control it. So there came a situation in Manipur where governor of Manipur felt that it is no more possible to run the government of Manipur in accordance with the Indian Constitution. Okay, so we have something called Part 18 in our Constitution. Part 18 deals with constitutional provisions, and we have three type of emergencies: national emergency, second one is state emergency, constitutional emergency or president rule, whatever you call it, constitutional emergency or president rule, both are same, and third one is financial emergency. Okay, so national emergency is imposed when country is in danger. Okay, and president rule or constitutional emergency is imposed under Article 356 when a state government cannot be run in accordance with the Constitution of India. Financial emergency is when India facing a financial crisis, severe financial crisis. So in Manipur, this kind of situation arose, Article 356. So President of India has imposed a constitutional emergency in the state of Manipur. Okay, usually it is done based on the report of based on the governor's report, but it is not the mandatory condition. If president feels state government cannot be run in accordance with the constitution through any other source, not necessarily from governor, he can impose. Okay, usually from governor, but can be done from other sources also. So Article 356, Manipur. Okay. Then these are all facts only. How long can this emergency can be continued? Initially for 2 months without anyone's approval. President can impose for 2 months. Okay. This is very irritating. Without anyone's approval, president can initially impose emergency for 2 months, but beyond that 2 months, it needs approval from Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha. Okay. Once Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha approves them, both houses separately, then it will continue for 6 months. Okay. Each and every factual detail you can get from Article 356. Please open original Constitution PDF, PM Bakshi or some other book and read the hard copy. Okay. Explanation is given here in this slide, but read the original Constitution article. Okay. Each and every article from the Constitution. Okay. So these are the static parts. Our next news article is trade war of USA. So Donald Trump has become the president of America again, and since he took over in January, he is signing series of documents. Okay, very sensational decisions. See, it is a political thing. Even what is happening right now is a political thing. Now, who will decide what is fair, what is not? That is a problem with the office of governor. Many issues. Why in India? In fact, you are seeing right now there is an issue between governor of Tamil Nadu and Tamil Nadu government also. Same is happening in Kerala, in many states. In fact, it can also be seen in Punjab. Okay, because governor is an agent of the union. State government is separate. If both belong to the same party, politically I'm talking about, I'm not talking about academically, the reality I'm talking about. If politically both are same party, usually union will extend cooperation. If they are not from same party, they are not that much cooperative. That is what we are seeing in India right now. That is why issues between governor and government of Tamil Nadu are going to the Supreme Court. But in this case, governor is not even acting. State is burning, but governor is not sending any report. It took 20 months. In fact, even now, after the resignation of Chief Minister, informally it was agreed Chief Minister will resign. Chief Minister has resigned. When Chief Minister resigned, it means all the government cancelled. I mean, if chief minister resigns, automatically council of ministers gets nullified. So when there is no government, then they are saying, okay, situation is in under Article 356, please impose president's rule. So if you talk about the reality, politically it was all pre-planned, pre-agreed, and they are doing right now. Okay, but these are the things. I mean, some things are subject to interpretation. Okay, you can say, I think you have asked a valid doubt. Where exactly governor has discretionary power? You can focus on there. In fact, you can go to home and you can study in Lakshmikant. In which areas governor has his discretionary power? Is this his discretionary power? Yes. He has discretion, so he has waited till this many months, now he has given. Okay. If there are set rules, then he could not have used discretion like this. Okay. So next news is trade war. Okay. So Donald Trump has a problem with mainly 3 countries, almost every country, but in this case, now he has problem with 3 countries: China, Canada, and Mexico. So these are 3 largest countries USA is trading with. China is one, Mexico is the second largest trading partner, Canada is the third largest trading partner. So USA imports many items from these 3 countries in this order: 1, 2, 3. Mexico is second. So high imports from these countries is something Donald Trump does not like, because everyone tries to maximize their exports, minimize their imports. Okay, it is natural. Then he is saying there is also a drug problem in USA. Okay, there is a drug called fentanyl. Okay, it is an opioid. Okay, it is a psychoactive substance. We will see in subsequent slides. So Donald Trump believes these drugs are originating from these countries and coming inside the USA and spoiling youth of USA. So he is imposing. These are the 2 reasons, but giving some national security, some other kind of formal reasons, he is imposing tariffs on all the goods, some kind of steel, aluminum, etc. Some goods coming from these 3 countries. Okay, so this is called trade war. Why it is called trade war? Trade is being used for political purposes. He is having some other problem. This is not related to trade, but he is using trade. So he is saying, if steel is imposed from bringing from China, we are importing steel from China, let's levy 25% tariff on it. Okay, some additional tax. Okay, so he is using trade as a revenge or for some other purpose. So obviously other countries will retaliate. China will not just sit and watch. So if you are living in my steel, something else we are importing from USA, I will impose on that. Okay, China is imposing almonds from USA, so China is imposing some tariff on almonds. Okay, so it goes on. This is called trade war. One country starts, another country retaliates. Okay, so this is one thing. But from UPSC perspective, we should see what is the impact on India. So if Trump is imposing steel tariff on steel, how much steel India is exporting? What are the products India is exporting? And are there any tariffs being levied on Indian exports? So this is also one thing. And there are also some benefits also for India, like he is focusing on China, he is targeting China. So people who are looking for investing in some country, they do not prefer China now, because the USA president is actively focusing on China. Next best alternative is India. So there are positives and negatives for India in this case. So you can analyze in that angle. So this is data. So many articles in Hindu. Last one minute. Okay. So this is trade war, imposing tariffs on imports from one country and retaliation by other country. Meanwhile, other countries also suffer. Okay, other countries also suffer. Global economy will suffer. If Trump is imposing additional tax on imports, who will pay it? Now steel is coming, let's say for example, 1,000 rupees per kg, but Trump has imposed 25% tax. So in USA now it will come 1250 per kg. Who will pay it? American customers will pay it. Okay, so it is having some positives and negatives. You can read it here. Okay, so India also having some additional benefits, like India will be the next best alternative. Okay, we can replace China in many things, but negative impacts we can also caught up in this fight. Okay, some products we may export, Trump may also levy tariffs on our products also. Okay. So there is a issue of drug addiction also in this thing. So there are something called opioids. So you must have heard about something called opium poppy and cannabis. Opium poppy, if you ask me in Telugu, we call it gasgasal, kuskus in Hindi. Okay. The seeds are safe. We eat those seeds. We use it in kitchen. But the leaves and some kind of other parts of this opium poppy are psychoactive. Same with cannabis, ganja. Okay. So these are psychoactive substances. These can make people addictive. Okay. So when you prepare some synthetic substances, these can be naturally found. These two are naturally found opioids. So opioids are substances that act on our nervous system in such a way that it makes us feel good. Okay. We don't feel any pain, etc. We can use positively in medicine actually. Okay. So naturally they are available. Some kind of semi-synthetic mode they can be made, like you take one natural substance, you add something to it. It is semi-synthetic. Some natural, some synthetic. They can be synthetic also. They can be fully made in lab. So opioids can be natural, like opium poppy and cannabis, semi-synthetic and synthetic. Examples of synthetic opioids are heroin, fentanyl. These are made in lab. They are made in lab in such a way that they act like opium poppy and cannabis. They give that good feeling or lesser pain, okay, painkiller type of relief when user consumes it. Okay. So fentanyl is like most powerful opioid. In India also you can see this is also last week article, some kind of related one. Okay. In India also we are having drug menace in Punjab. Okay. But in Punjab it is mostly heroin. Fentanyl is far more powerful than heroin. Okay. So Trump feels the threat in USA is from Canada, Mexico and China. What about India? Where is the threat originating to India? So if you see, this is Punjab, Kashmir, okay. There is something called Golden Crescent here, okay. So Afghanistan, Iran and Pakistan. These countries are less regulated, not so democratic, not so powerful like India. So here people are cultivating these opioids, drugs, making these drugs and sending to India. Okay. So that is why in Punjab being a border country, border state, it is facing a severe drug crisis. Okay. So same thing, whatever I have explained, I have written here. Next topic is tax disputes with Volkswagen and Kia. Okay. So this is kind of Indian tax system issue. So previously in past, India has done something bad, like we have levied one level of tax, let's say 12%. But after some years, we have increased the taxation and applied it backwards. It is called retrospective taxation. So we have increased the tax rates and we have told the companies you have to pay this tax from 10 years back. So these kind of things India has done in the past and India has lost so much investor confidence. So from then we have done some reforms. But again some kind of similar thing is happening right now. Okay. So what is the issue here? So there are two companies, maybe there can be other companies also. There are two automotive companies, Volkswagen and Kia. So how you are importing car products, automotives, cars, etc. The way you import these products into India gets applicable to different type of taxes. Like if you bring completely built unit, like car is built completely elsewhere, car is built in USA and you are importing full car, then you will pay some higher tax, like almost 128%. That means if your car is 10 lakhs you will pay 12,80,000 tax. Total price car will be sold is 22,80,000. See, so much of tax. But if you are not bringing completely built unit, you are bringing it in parts, completely knock it down unit. That means every part of car is there. You should just assemble it. It is knocked down. It is fully ready. You just have to assemble it. If you bring these parts without assembling it, each and every part, then some 30 to 35% tax is applicable. Why this tax reduction Indian government is giving? To encourage assembly. To encourage assembly industry in India. It gives some employment in India. Okay, we might not be having this technology to build whole car in India, but we can assemble, we have the manpower. So to encourage this kind of assembly units, we are reducing tax. And if you are bringing individual units, I don't want whole car, I just want tires. I am importing just tires, only one part. I am importing just engines, not whole car. In those individual units, you will have 5 to 10% tax. So based on which part you are importing, how you are importing, different tax rate will be applicable. So Volkswagen and Kia, these are importing individual parts and they are assembling it. And this has been going for so many years. Now Indian government is saying, you have imported individual units for so many years, but in fact, you are importing all the units. It means you are bringing whole car. You should have reported, I am bringing completely knocked down units. They are bringing each and every part, but they are reporting it as individual parts, not completely knocked down units. So they are saving like some 30% tax every time. So Indian government, at least you are reporting it wrong. So it's like how you are packaging. See, whole system is very confusing. Like literally, you ship all 10 parts in a single cargo, different tax rate. Combine with similar parts, 10 different type of cargo, separate ships, different tax rate. So issue itself is confusing. But these companies are arguing, had you told this earlier, immediately after 1 year, I would have rectified my reporting. You have waited for like 7-8 years. Now you are asking me to pay for the past 7 years. So this is kind of dispute going on. Now it is going in court. Okay. Just understand different tax rate. So there is a tax issue also. I mean the identification on part of Indian officials also have, and if the now court has to decide whether they have intentionally reported it wrong or they are just using it. Everyone wants to save tax, obviously. So they are just smart or they are reporting it wrong in an unethical way. Whose mistake it is? Now court has to decide. Next, another minor news. Okay, another crazy action of Trump. So there is a organization called United States Agency for International Donation. Okay, USAID. So till now, US is the largest donating agency, largest donating country of all the countries on earth. US is the country giving highest amount as donation to the other countries. Most of this amount is going through this organization called USAID, US Agency for International Donation or Development. Okay, so they are involved in many humanitarian works in many countries. Whether they are not saying it is an independent autonomous agency. You can see here it was formed through an act. It was formed through an act called Foreign Assistance Act. So it has independence. It is autonomous. It is not depending on the government. It is not reporting directly to the government. Okay. So because they are autonomous, even though countries not having good relations with USA, like Iran, North Korea. So wherever there is a crisis, they are genuinely helping people outside of politics. They are doing so much humanitarian work like food security, healthcare infrastructure, humanitarian aid. Even in India, they are investing in education, etc., health, etc. But now Donald Trump does not like this because he wants everything to be linked to politics. So this agency is not working like that. So he is almost closing this agency, but he may not be able to close because this is a statutory. That means US Congress has given approval for this existence. So he may not be able to close it. So he is downsizing it. Like 10,000 employees are there. He removed almost 9,500 employees or more. Okay. So this one agency almost closed, but not actually closed. Okay. So Air India 2025. Okay, it is just a small exhibition only. Like we have this aviation equipment, aviation, aeroplanes, civil aviation. Next space, satellites, spacecrafts, and defense. Okay, missiles, fighter jets, etc. Fighter jets, etc. Aviation related. So aerospace related to these three: aviation, space, defense. This is an exhibition for that. Okay, so this is organized for multiple purposes. Aero India, it is a biennial event. That means it is organized once every 2 years, biennial. So all the interested countries, interested businessmen, interested startups were brought here, and they will have strategic or business type of negotiations. Okay, it is just for a better cooperation among the countries in these fields. Okay, India is organizing this once every 2 years, and it is being done in Bangalore every year. Okay, once every 2 years. So next one, PM-POSHAN scheme. So we used to have a scheme called midday meal scheme. Now this is called PM-POSHAN scheme. Okay. So what is the concept of midday meal scheme? So Tamil Nadu in 1960s, 70s done an experiment. So why not we give lunch for school students? So because there are many poor people, children are being sent to work because parents do not have money. So Tamil Nadu government thought like, they are worrying about money, they are worrying about food. Why not we provide food in the schools afternoon for the children? This will be an incentive for the parents. And that program was very much success and very well appreciated and received. So Indian government started initiating it in 1990s. So it was called midday meal scheme. Till recently it was renamed as PM-POSHAN scheme. Okay. This is organized by Ministry of Education. Okay, this is carried out by Ministry of Education. This PM-POSHAN scheme itself is a part of larger scheme called POSHAN Abhiyan. POSHAN Abhiyan by Ministry of Women and Child Development. Okay. So this PM-POSHAN scheme itself is a sub-part of a larger scheme. So what is this concept of PM-POSHAN scheme? From the time of joining the school, like nursery, pre-primary, till 8th class, from 3 years, age around 3 years, till student goes to 8th class, that means 12-13 years, government will provide free lunch, free hot cooked lunch at the school, in government schools and government aided schools. Okay, and we have something called National Food Security Act. Okay, in this National Food Security Act, how much nutrition every student shall have, how much nutrition a person shall have is laid down in this National Food Security Act. So minimum nutrition, student should have 10 grams of protein per day, 20 grams of protein per day, 30 grams of minerals, etc. This kind of nutrition guidelines were laid down. Okay, because India is having many problems like child wasting, child stunting, okay, anemia in children and women, okay, and undernourishment. Okay, child wasting means child is very less weight for his height. Okay, his height is okay, but he is too thin. Child stunting is not having proper height for his age. Okay, anemia, that means not having proper red blood cells in or hemoglobin in the blood. Okay, undernourishment, that means our body needs some basic minerals and vitamins and you are not getting it. You may be eating, but you are not getting everything your body needs. So there are various kind of health issues and they are very prevalent in Indian children and Indian women. So to address these issues, we are having these schemes like POSHAN Abhiyan and midday meal scheme, etc. And the guidelines were laid down in National Food Security Act. So the current issue is that normally it is seen that egg is a very healthy food item. It is having good amount of protein, etc., vitamins, minerals, etc. So Maharashtra government recently has withdrawn eggs from the midday meal scheme. That means they are not giving eggs to the children. So some people are criticizing it. Sir, egg is a very good thing. In fact, egg is something costly compared to the other foods. Like you can have half kg of potatoes with for one egg almost in market. So this is something poor people usually cannot afford regularly. So giving that will be a nice thing. Why are you removing it? Maharashtra government said we don't have enough budget. So we need like 50 crores per year to provide eggs to the children. No, we don't have that money. Funny thing is that Maharashtra is one of the richest states in the country. Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Maharashtra, these are the richest states in the country. So people are criticizing it. So some people are arguing, you have done this for religious kind of reasons. There are some religious groups in Maharashtra arguing for vegetarianism. Okay, so this has some political angle also. Anyway, the official reason given by government is that funding reasons. We don't have enough money, so we are withdrawing the egg. So it is becoming an issue. So news is not that much important. Okay, we are not able to do anything for that. Okay, understand the issue behind it, then you read it. Okay, the importance of egg in nutrition and for the children. Okay, what happens if you remove the egg? Okay, it is kind of one of the easiest and most important ways for giving proper nutrition. Okay, and you can also read about POSHAN Abhiyan scheme also. Next news, cross blood transplant. Okay, so we have these blood groups. Usually these are the 4. So these are the usual 4 blood groups. Almost all of us will have one of these things. Okay, and there is something called RH factor. That means you can have A plus or A minus. There is something called rhesus protein. It is a protein on red blood cells. People who have that rhesus protein is called RH positive or A plus, A minus. Same B plus, B minus. Okay. AB plus or AB minus, O positive, O negative. Okay. So usually there are 8 blood groups, you can say. Most people will have this. In rarest of rare cases, people will have very rare kind of blood groups. One of them is Bombay blood group. It is a very rare blood group called Bombay blood group. Okay, in India it is kind of, you can find 1 in 10,000, but in world it is very, very rare. Because in India we have this close marriage systems, especially in South India. Okay, that is why this intensity of Bombay blood group comparatively higher, but still this blood group is very rare. And they can receive blood only from other Bombay blood group only. So if anyone belonging to these 4 groups needs blood, they might have gone through some surgery or some accident, they need some blood immediately. They can find another donor easily because finding these people is easy. But Bombay blood group is very, very rare. There may be only one person in whole of Andhra having Bombay blood group. We don't know. So it is such kind of rare thing. So when Bombay blood group people usually needs blood, in most cases they die. It is very hard to find a person who is having Bombay blood group. So in this case, there is a patient having Bombay blood group. He needs kidney transplant. But there is no donor. He needs kidney transplant, not just blood. And when you transplant kidney, blood group shall match. So his mother is willing to donate kidney. Who will donate kidney for anyone? Finding Bombay blood group person is difficult. You cannot ask him kidney. Okay. So his mother is ready to give kidney, but blood group is different. So doctors has done a surgery, almost done nowhere in the world till now. They have done some additional filtration, etc. They have successfully given this kind of group to Bombay blood group. Okay. Non-Bombay blood group to Bombay blood group person. So that is why it's in news. It is a first time doing this kind of thing in the world. So Bombay blood group, it is a very rare thing. These are the ordinary blood groups. Okay. So they can give to anyone. So people of AB, O can receive blood from Bombay blood group. But reverse cannot happen. Okay. And why they are rare? Because all of these people, whatever group you belong to, everyone has something called antigen H. There is something called antigen H. When that is missing, usually they are called Bombay blood group. Okay. and they are having this antigen H, and these people are not having antigen H. If you give them, their body cannot receive antigen H. Okay, that is why blood transfusion cannot happen. So next news, arms reduction treaties between USA and Russia or erstwhile Soviet Union. So during the period of Cold War, USA and allies on one side and Soviet Union on one side. So these are competing in everything. If US is gathering nuclear warheads, they also gather nuclear warheads. If US is stockpiling ballistic missiles, Soviet Russia also doing that. Soviet Russia using some new kind of missile, US also developed the same kind of missile. Okay, so they in this Cold War there is a competition in everything. These are two superpowers in the world at that time, leading two poles. So for world peace, some people negotiated between them and they have made some kind of treaties. Okay, let us limit the nuclear warheads we are having. Let us limit the ballistic missiles we are having. Let us limit the rockets we are having. Okay, let us allow each other to surveillance on each other. Like Russia allows US to come and check from sky. It opens its sky to US. It allows US to check whether Russia is properly following all the treaties or not. Same. US allows Russia in its sky and allows it to check whether US is following the treaty or not. So they are kind of peace in kind of this missiles and arms, etc. So there are multiple treaties made in the past. If you see till now, multiple treaties in controlling arms, in ensuring surveillance of each other. There are treaties on arms. Whether Russia is following that, US will see under Open Skies Treaty. Whether US is following or not, Russia will see. Okay, so they have made some treaties. Okay, like START abbreviation is Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty. So there are multiple treaties, not one. They have made. But again, in the last few years, relations between USA and Russia are going downwards. In 2014, Russia has annexed Crimea, which belonged to Ukraine. Now again in 2022, Russia attacked Ukraine again. Okay, so the USA is supporting Ukraine. So the relations between Russia and USA is not good again. Russia is the successor of USSR. Okay, so these treaties now they are not resuming. Once it is expiring, they are leaving it. They are no more promising to reduce their arms, controlling the arms. So among all the treaties are made, one last treaty is the remaining. Okay, it is called New START. It was made in 2010. It is having validity up to 2026 February. It is the last remaining treaty. It reduces the number of nuclear warheads each country can keep. If they agree for 500, okay, US will keep 500, Russia will keep 500. Okay, but if this treaty expires, who can keep, anyone can keep any number of warheads. Okay, so this is kind of for world peace. It gives security and confidence for the whole region. Okay, European region. Now this treaty is expiring, so some people are worrying. And now see what is Putin is saying, President Putin, extending the last deal, whatever is remaining, is doubtful. I don't think so in these kind of situations. Okay, so all remaining already expired. Even the last one, he is saying in these kind of situations it cannot be extended because I cannot trust US in this situation. He is saying. Okay. So next news. So there are like 40-50 news. Okay, I will go very fast. To cover all these things in 3 hours is very difficult. Okay, please keep up. You can go back with the PPT and you can read fully if you have any doubts in mind. Okay. China's dam on Brahmaputra. So, see, let me tell you about a different dam first. There is something called Three Gorges Dam in the world. It is the largest dam in the world, and China has built it. This is the China, and here it built a dam called Three Gorges Dam. It is so large that it has slowed down the movement of that. So Earth rotates at certain speed, okay, and it slowed down the rotation of Earth by 0.06 microseconds. 0.06 microseconds. It may be small, we can't notice it right now, but the fact is one human structure changed the speed of rotation of Earth. So that is kind of scary. Now China is building a dam with a triple the capacity. Three Gorges Dam is the largest in the world. Now 3 times of the capacity of the Three Gorges Dam, China is building on Brahmaputra, just near to India, Arunachal Pradesh. It is planning right now. It has its reasons. Everyone is now pushing for renewable energy. So India has target 2070. India wants to eliminate all fossil fuels by 2070. China promised I will eliminate all fossil fuels by 2060. So China is a second largest populated country right now, very well developed, industrially developed than India. It is consuming much more energy. It is the largest polluter in the world right now, as of now. So it needs so much renewable energy. So one of its plan is this dam on Arunachal Pradesh. But unfortunately, it is very close to India. And unlike this region, this is seismically very active region. We frequently hear Himalayas and Delhi region, etc., frequent earthquakes, etc. This Tibet and Himalayas are seismically a very active region. Why? Because in geography you will read plate tectonics. Indian plate came and collided with the Indo-Eurasian plate, Eurasian plate. Okay. So this region is still active. Himalayas are still rising. It is still pushing Tibet. So in this seismically active region, now you are building dams. Huge dams built anywhere can cause earthquakes. And now you are constructing it in an already earthquake prone region. Okay. And we have so many fears. Like, what if China dam fails here? What if China does a mistake? Who will suffer? All the people in Arunachal and Assam will suffer. If China leaves water too much, suddenly floods will occur in lower parts. Okay. So whatever mistakes of China, we will face the consequences. So we have our own fears. And it is not just a normal dam, world's largest dam. So we have our own fears, but China is trying to assure us, oh, no, don't worry, we have enough technology, you will not get impacted. But how can we trust? Okay, others we cannot trust, especially not China. Because even under normal circumstances, we used to fight. We fight with China usually. India and Pakistan have a treaty called Indus Water Treaty, and it is mediated World Bank. There is World Bank in the middle, and it is guaranteeing each other. Still, we are fighting on Indus Treaty. It is frequently in news. Now here, nowhere is mediating, and China feels super powerful. It is very aggressive wherever it is strong, like South China Sea, and it is frequently fighting on borders with us. So we cannot allow to build that dam near us. I mean, there is nothing we can do right now, but still, China may use it for political reasons. If there is sudden war between China and India, China can stop all the water, or China may release all the water suddenly. Okay, so China will gain some strategic advantages with this dam. Okay, so there is an article in news like what we can do in this kind of situation. This is kind of worrying thing. What we can do? Like, can India build a counter dam just adjacent to Arunachal? If China releases water suddenly, we can stop with another dam. Okay, so there are some discussions happened in this article. So why China is doing that? It was given first. Okay, and one suggestion from this article is that Bangladesh also has a problem. Bangladesh is also downstream country of Brahmaputra. But Bangladesh, especially after recent changes, last year Bangladesh government was toppled, new government came which is more pro-China. Okay, so Bangladesh in its existing situation will not stand up to China. So India may try to form an alliance because Nepal will get impacted. Bangladesh will get impacted. Even Pakistan may get impacted through some other river drainage system, etc. So you kind of try to form a regional alliance on river water system. Okay, negotiate with China diplomatically. So there are 2-3 solutions discussed in this article. Okay, this is the context. Dam building by China adjacent to India. Okay, there is an international convention called UN Watercourse Convention, but neither India nor China are part of it. So had we been part of it, this would have been some relief because there would have been rules. So everyone is bound by rules. But this UN Watercourse Convention, which discusses sharing of water between transboundary rivers flowing from one country to another country. Rules are given here, but neither India nor China are part of this convention. So this is also worry. There is nothing stopping China from blackmailing us in future. Okay. So next news is Unified Pension Scheme. So government employees, whether state or central, so usually when they get recruited, they work for lifetime. So you can put it this way, they dedicate their life for public service, and after their retirement, after 60, when people become weak, they usually retire. So when they retire, everyone wants peaceful life, stable life, because they have already contributed to the nation, public service. So pension is something, a monetary benefit given to the people who retires. Okay, it can be a public servant or even it can be a private employee. Okay, so there is something called old pension scheme. So old pension scheme is something central government used to give all the employees of the union, central government employees, and state governments in India used to give their respective employees. It is called old pension scheme. It was in India before 2004. So in this, after employee retires, whatever the salary he last received, like if a person is retiring in December 2000, just for example I'm saying past, it is his last month, whatever he is receiving, let's say 2 lakhs, 50% of that amount will be his pension for the remaining life. That means he will receive 1 lakh every month till his end. Okay, 1 lakh, 50% of the last drawn salary. And during this term, he does not have to give anything. He will work normally, he will receive salary. At the end, 50% of last drawn salary will be his pension throughout the month, throughout the lifetime. So employee does not have to contribute. All the contribution is by government. So in this system, government has to put so much money into the pensions. Because not only you are giving salaries for employees during the time of work, you are also giving them money after their retirement. And pension expenses keeps on increasing, population keeps on increasing, number of employees keeps on increasing. You are not only giving present employees, you are also giving salaries to all the past employees. So much burden on the government. So fiscal deficit is increasing, so much expenses towards the pension. So government thought this is not sustainable. We cannot keep paying pensions for like this forever. So government thought it is not sustainable. So in 2004, it introduced a new system called New Pension Scheme, or it is also called National Pension Scheme. Whatever you call it, National Pension Scheme or New Pension Scheme. So in this system, now government will pay something, the employee will pay something, government will pay something. So 10% will be cut from employee salary. Government will give some fixed percentage of the employee salary. So every month it is put aside. So the money will get accumulated. And this amount will be invested in securities, stocks, etc. Okay, there is an organization called Pension Fund Regulatory Development Authority, PFRDA. So it gathers all this money and it invests in securities. Okay, securities, mutual funds, etc. So in market, you can say in market. So he is contributing, first of all, see the changes. He is contributing unlike the previous system and he is not getting any fixed money. Now it depends on the market. So if he is getting too much on market, he will get so much money. Either too many profits or theoretically he may get losses also. So stock market suddenly collapse, you will see. So what will happen in future, no one knows. So when you are investing something, you may get too high profits or your money may remain same or you may lose all your money. So here not only government is taking money from the employee, it is investing in capital market. That means in future, if markets are not performing well, he may receive very less salary as pension. So here amount of pension is not guaranteed. And government started implementing in 2004. Since then, no employee is happy. Most employees are not happy. But in this situation, government is not contributing as much as it did in old pension system. So fiscal deficit is less, burden on government is less, but now burden was passed to the employee. In previous circumstance, he did not pay anything towards the pension during his work time. But now he is paying something every month. In old pension scheme, some minimum amount is assured. In this case, nothing is guaranteed. So people are fighting for the past many years. This was in news. So because of the public pressure, many state governments went back to the old pension scheme. Union government, you do whatever you want to do with central government employees, but I want to give old pension scheme to my state employees. So some states have went back to old pension scheme. Now government came up with a new thing because this is receiving criticism. So in 2024, government came up with a new idea called Unified Pension Scheme. What is Unified Pension Scheme? You don't have to write. I have given everything in the next slide. I am just explaining. Everything is written in the next slide. Unified Pension Scheme is nothing but a hybrid of these two. So combine the good things of both old and new, put it into a new form. So in this Unified Pension Scheme, he will be assured some basic salary, 50% of last 12 months, average of last 12 months. Okay. But he will also contribute like new pension system. Okay. So it may be market linked, but minimum is issued. Okay. So best of both is combined and a new scheme called Unified Pension Scheme is issued. So old, new, unified, which is a mix of old and new. Okay. So now see the news. What is the news? He is Odisha Chief Minister. He is announcing, okay, I am going to Unified Pension Scheme. And this Unified Pension Scheme will start from, throughout India, it will start from 1st April 2025. Okay. Okay. Next news is Naga peace talks. So, Nagaland, some people from Nagaland has this dream. So they believe this group of tribes who they call themselves as Nagas, they are distributed across many states including Myanmar. Some Nagas in Arunachal, Nagaland, which we have made an exclusive state for that people, and some people in Assam, some people in Manipur, some people in the neighboring country of Myanmar. So they believe this is all my homeland, not just the state of Nagaland. We have given them a state, some autonomy. We have given them Article 371A to satisfy their aspirations, but still they are not satisfied. Some of them are not satisfied. Their dream is to form a new country altogether. This is called secessionism. Okay, they want to secede from India. They want a new country altogether called Nagalim. The name given to themselves is Nagalim. Okay, so this is their dream. And for this, many people started taking guns, arms in 1960s, 70s. So there was a lot of insurgency in this region. Okay, Indian paramilitary forces are fighting this Naga rebellion groups. So one of the most violent rebellion group is Naga Socialist Council of Nagaland. Okay, NSCN. So this was formed in some 1960s, 70s, but soon it got break up. So it was started as this NSCN, but now it got split like NSCN, Isaac Moya. Some people formed this group with this name. Isaac is a person's name, Moya is a person's name. They formed one group. There is another person called Kaplan. He formed another group called NSCNK. So many small groups also came. But among all this NSCN IM, okay, Isaac Moya group became somewhat powerful. It is the most violent group. It is very difficult to control this group. Okay, so since then insurgency is continuing. Okay, in Nagaland, around Nagaland. So to reduce these conflicts, to reduce the insurgency, Indian government went into negotiations with these groups. So in 2015, government has made some pact with this NSCN IM. Okay, 2015 peace framework. What are the rules agreed in this peace framework were not made public till now. So government has made some secret deals with this NSCN IM, but the contents of the deal were not made public. No one knows right now except the government and their group. They say we have asked for a separate flag for Nagaland and separate something else for Nagaland. They say government has agreed, but government is not publicly acknowledging it. So there is something secret deal between them. Since then, some peace prevailed. Okay, and government has also done some other agreement with other groups also. This peace framework is with this group, and there are some other groups, political groups. Okay, with some other groups, government has made some agreement for peace. This is from 2017 to 19. So there are multiple groups, one framework with the powerful group, some other agreements with the remaining less powerful but still violent groups. So somehow peace was issued in this Nagaland region. So now they are asking government to respect the deal. See what they are saying. They are asking PM to uphold the 2015 framework agreement made with them. So just because you may have made deal with these other groups, don't expect us to remain peaceful. We remain peaceful only when you respect the framework agreement with us. Okay. So it is just kind of reminder or threat or whatever people see. They are asking to uphold the peace framework, whatever made between the government of India and that NSIN IM group. Okay. So recently some MPs from Nagaland also wrote to Home Minister asking that what is the status of this peace deal? You have not made it public, and what is happening right now? Okay. So 2 news articles on the same issue. Okay. So in 1970s, some organization, National Socialist Council of Nagaland, was formed. Then it got split into multiple groups. Okay, Sakmoya and Kaplan. Okay, some frameworks were made, 2015 framework, and this Naga national political groups, another agreement. Okay, so multiple agreements were made. It is just a normal news. News is not important. Okay, issue is important. So delay in census, it is the next topic. So this is the news from current week. So I have seen last week some similar kind of news. So I added it here. So in Lok Sabha, Madam Sonia Gandhi is highlighting that government, you have delayed the census, but there is a problem here. You have something called public distribution system, PDS. You are distributing free ration to people, but you are doing that still based on 2011 census. It's 13-14 years old. And you have forgotten that there is a devastating incident called COVID, which have pushed more people into the poverty. So many people became poor in recent times, but still, since you are taking 2011 census as base, you are not giving them enough rations, etc. So you are not helping them. Okay. So that is the summary of this. So their estimate is 14 crore. Okay, they are opposition, obviously they will exaggerate. Okay. So there is another news that because census is not done after 2021, many reports are not coming. Usually we need many frequent reports like National Crime Records Bureau. It releases some reports like suicides, crimes in India, prison reports, accidents, etc. Many reports it will release, and it will take census as base. Many reports in India take census as base, but we have not done updated census, so many reports are getting delayed. So again, issue is not so, news is not so much important. Issue is like, what is the significance of census? It is not just a normal exercise you will conduct every 10 years, count how much population is there. So there are some ramifications if you don't conduct census, okay, at proper intervals. So why census is getting delayed this time? First of all, COVID, but COVID has gone in 2022. We have forgotten COVID in 2022 itself. So why not government is doing census anymore? Because there are two other reasons also. Government wanted to do digital census from this time. So digital census, till now we are normally normal enumeration through physical enumeration. Now we are shifting to digital mode. So it is taking some time to arrange that infrastructure, training, etc. Another thing is that there is a growing demand for caste census across India. So 1 or 2 political parties taken up this cause of caste census, and some governments even done also, like Bihar and Telangana, etc. Now it is a national-wide demand for caste censuses. So now government is thinking, shall I do this or not? Okay, so that is one delay. So who will conduct census? Census is conducted by Office of Registrar General and Census Commissioner under Ministry of Home. Okay, what is census? Census is a national-wide data collection exercise for population, economic and social data. Okay, so these are the reasons: COVID-19, political debates over caste-based enumeration, and logistical challenges in shifting to digital census. Okay. So these are some negative consequences, like now we are not updating our welfare schemes. We are still using old data. That means many people are getting excluded. Okay. Government planning itself, whatever the policies government is bringing, it is basing on old data. Okay. Business and economic decisions, electoral constituencies, delimitation, etc. also we could not do. Okay. Why we cannot implement this 106th Constitutional Amendment Act? Because there is no limitation. Why there is no delimitation? Because there is no census. Okay. So this week judiciary is so much in news. There were some appointments and there are calls for removal of judges, and there is a discussion on severe pendency of cases also. Okay. So first news is some judges were appointed to High Court. So news again is not so much important. The issue here is how judges are appointed in India. Okay, how judges are appointed to Supreme Court, how judges are appointed to High Court, how judges are appointed below High Court level, district judges and below, etc. So if you see, Supreme Court judges and High Court judges both are appointed by President of India. Okay, it is written in the Constitution itself. Okay, in Article 124 talks about Supreme Court judges and Article 217 talks about High Court judges. Okay, so since Constitution came into effect in 1950, there is a debate how to appoint judges. Who will appoint judges? President will appoint, but under ordinary circumstances, President will listen to the advice of Council of Ministers. But if you give chance to the Council of Ministers, they will appoint judges they like. When I am appointed by a particular political party, obviously I give favorable decisions for them. So here judicial independence is getting compromised. On the other hand, if Council of Ministers who are elected, Prime Minister who got people's approval, if he does not take the decision, who will appoint the judges? Constitution did not give a clear mechanism. So this debate carried on for so many years. There were some cases like first judges case, second judges, third judges case. These are called judges cases because in these cases it was debated how judges should be appointed to Supreme Court and High Court. It was not clearly written in Constitution. Whatever written in Constitution, it is also interpreted in multiple ways. And Supreme Court believes, especially after this 1973 Keswananda Bharati judgment, judicial independence is a part of basic structure. Judiciary has to be independent. Judiciary cannot be subsidiary to executive or legislature. So with this thought, the debate continued. So first judge's case occurred in 1982. In this case, whatever written in the Constitution, it was literally interpreted. Okay, President will appoint. How President will appoint? Based on the advice of Council of Ministers. But many people are not happy. Sir, if you give power to the politicians, Council of Ministers are nothing but politicians. They will appoint favorable judges. They will give favorable judgments. So where is the justice here? Where is the judicial independence here? So it continued. Another case came in 1993, second judge's case. So in this case, Supreme Court came up with a radical solution. Supreme Court appointed something called collegium. There is no such thing in Indian Constitution. There is no word called collegium. There is no method called collegium in Indian Constitution. Supreme Court thought that I should ensure judicial independence somehow and I should give some mechanism. So Supreme Court said, sir, let us do this. Chief Justice will be there because we don't want to give whole power to one person. Let us take another two senior judges. Chief Justice, two senior judges after him, three people. These three people will sit and these three people will be called collegium, group of judges. They will pick up the names. Okay, this person should be appointed High Court of Telangana. This person should be made Chief Justice of High Court of Madhya Pradesh. So they will take the decisions. President will just formally approve. If you see in Article 124 or 217, it is written in consultation with the Chief Justice, in consultation with Chief Justice of High Court. So the word used by Constitution is consultation. President shall consult Chief Justice of India. So what does consult mean? It is just advice, or whatever Chief Justice of India is saying, it is binding on the President. So that interpretation continued. In this second judge's case, Supreme Court has conclusively said, consult means whatever Chief Justice is saying, President has to listen. Because we don't want to give full power to one person, let us make it a group. Chief Justice plus two other people. So in this second judge's case, something called collegium system was introduced, and at that time collegium means CJA plus two other judges. Again, it was criticized. Okay, you three people are sitting. Now you are saying Council of Ministers are cannot be trusted. How can you three be trusted? So now you will do whatever you want to do in every court, in every state and Supreme Court. So after this criticism, during another third judge's case, number of judges in this collegium system increased. Like 1 plus 2 remained for high courts. The same collegium introduced in second judge's case is till now continuing for high courts. How high court judges are appointed? Chief Justice and two senior judges will sit and they will prepare the names for high court judges, even now. But for Supreme Court judges, 2 more judges will be added. Okay. So for Supreme Court, it will be Chief Justice plus 4. Total 5. Okay. This decision was made in third judge's case. So executive is watching all this. Government is watching all this. So how slowly you are taking power away from me, and you have made, you are appointing yourself. Judges are appointing judges. So you can see this phenomenon is happening in India even now also. One person will become Chief Justice and his son will become Chief Justice after 25 years. After 20 years, again another person from his family will become Chief Justice or Supreme Court judge. This is a reality in India. Accidentally or maybe other reason also, because that is a family having this judicial background. So they will obviously make their children study in this law only. So there may be any reasons, but there are some families dominating in judiciary also. So now executive is criticizing judiciary. You are appointing yourself. You are taking all the power. So where is democracy? Who are giving that power to you? At least people are giving me power. Whether I'm fair or not, keep it aside. I am elected by people. You are appointing yourself. Same, continuing. So after this criticism, government implemented something called 19th Constitutional Amendment Act. It has amended the constitution. So it wanted to bring clarity. Why these first 3 judges happened? Because there is no clarity in the constitution. So government decided, okay, I will bring clarity in the constitution. So it has got something called National Judicial Appointments Committee, NJAC. So it has laid down clear methodology. A group of committee consisting of some ministers, Chief Justice, some judges, etc. So this committee will sit and committee will recommend names, President will appoint. So now no more it is sole prerogative of judiciary. Now some executive also came. So again executive came. So again it went to court, 4th judge's case on this 99th Constitutional Amendment Act. Supreme Court has struck down this 99th Constitutional Amendment Act. It is not valid. It is unconstitutional. You are taking judicial independence away. So it is a polity part anyway. So there are four judges cases. So because 4th judge's case struck down NJAC, 99th Constitutional Amendment Act, we are still continuing with the 3rd judge's case judgment. Okay, we have a collegium system. 5 judges will take calls on Supreme Court judges. 3 judges will take call on High Court judges. Okay, remaining all you can just read the clauses. Remaining whatever written in the clause, it is same. Okay. Now what about the judges below high courts, district judges and below? So district judges and below judges are appointed by governor. High court judges, Supreme Court judges by president. District court judges and below level are appointed by governor. Okay. If it is district judge, it is on the recommendations of high court. Okay, high court. If it is judges below the district court, then it is based on State Public Service Commission. Okay, it is written in the constitution. Okay, you can read those articles 233 and 234. Now it is clearly written. Here there is no confusion. 233, 234. So now let's talk about removal. We have talked about appointment. So there is one judge in Allahabad High Court. So in personal capacity, He went to a religious event and he has strongly made communally charged statements against some particular religion. So he belongs to one religion, he criticized another religion. So now he is receiving criticism, like you are a high court judge, you are supposed to uphold equality, you are symbol of fairness, justice, etc. If you are having this kind of thoughts, if you are having this natural hatred to other communities, so how we can expect fairness in your judgment? So this is the criticism that judge received. Some judges of the Supreme Court are also not happy about his statement. So even Supreme Court asked explanation. Some MPs in the parliament put some motion before the chairman for his removal. There is a process laid down for the removal of judges of High Court and Supreme Court in the Constitution. We will see. So to start that process, some people have given notice to the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. So regarding Supreme Court judges calling that High Court judge, he is making this statement. Supreme Court you can call if you want, but the power lies in our hand. Even Supreme Court wants to remove a High Court judge, he cannot remove. At most, they can recommend transfer, which will be approved by President, but they cannot remove it. Who can remove? Only President can remove. Okay? When President removes, that is the procedure laid down in the Constitution. Okay? So what is the procedure of removal of Supreme Court and High Court judges? Same for both. Okay? So it has to be approved by Parliament. That means it has to be passed by Lok Sabha, it has to be passed by Rajya Sabha with a special majority. Okay? Not simple majority, with a special majority. What is special majority? 50% of total membership plus 2/3 present and sitting, present and voting. Okay? So with a special majority, each house separately has to pass, then President has to approve. But before doing that, when chairman or speaker receives a notice, first he will decide whether I will admit or not. Okay, in this case, he has received in December, he is still sitting on it. He is thinking whether I should admit or not. So if he decides to admit, then they will appoint a committee. So to supplement these constitutional articles, we have made a act called Judges Enquiry Act. Okay, there is a act called Judges Enquiry Act. This says when the speaker or chairman receives the notice, he shall appoint a committee. Okay, Judges Enquiry Committee. Okay, they will inquire. It is consisting of Supreme Court judge, High Court judge, and a jurist. So 3 people having legal knowledge will sit and inquire against the allegations. So what are the grounds? When a judge can be removed only on 2 grounds. When he has committed a proven misbehavior or he is incapable. Only 2 grounds. Only 2 grounds. Proven misbehavior and incapacity. Either he should be incapable or he has done something wrong intentionally. And the Constitution did not define these words. If you see Article 124, these words are not defined. What is misbehavior? What is incapacity? Was not defined. So in this act we have defined. Now this committee will inquire what happened, whether he has done proven misbehavior or not, or whether he is incapable or not. If committee says no, you should stop it then and there. Even Parliament cannot do anything. Only when committee says yes, he has committed misbehavior and it is proven, then it will be taken up by Parliament. Now they will debate. If they want to impeach him, if they want to remove him, they have to pass it by special majority. Then it will go to the other house. Then again they have to debate it. They have to pass with special majority. Then it will go to the president. So see, very difficult to remove a judge in India. So till now, no judge was removed in India. In the entire history of India, no judge was removed by this process. So it was laid down for Supreme Court judge in 124 and High Court judge in 217 and 218. In 218, it is written that whatever is applicable to Supreme Court judge for removal, it is applicable same for High Court judge. Okay. So this is the process of removal of High Court judges and Supreme Court judges. So the below level, who are appointing, they will be the removing authority. So because there are no constitutional provisions, governor will remove. Okay, based on Chief Justice recommendations or State Public Service Commission's terms and conditions, based on same inquiry acts, etc. Below level officials, governor will remove. Now appointment of ad hoc judges. Ad hoc means temporary. Okay. So some discussions happened on rising cases in all the courts of India. So approximately 62 lakhs cases are pending in all the high courts of India. So high courts want to recruit some judges temporarily. But Supreme Court has put some restrictions. If you want to take temporary ad hoc judges, these are our conditions. Constitution has laid down some conditions. In addition to that, Supreme Court has put some conditions. So debate happened because these conditions are very rigid. Usually courts cannot hire these temporary judges. So cases are pending. Whatever the existing strength, it is not enough. Number of cases are pending. Judicial pendency is increasing. So as a solution to this, last week, Judiciary has relaxed some conditions. That is why it is news. So some discussion happened in Supreme Court regarding taking ad hoc judges. Okay. So, but the process of taking ad hoc judges for Supreme Court and High Court is already given in the Constitution itself. Okay. If you see Article 127, it says Supreme Court can take sitting High Court judges. That means Supreme Court cannot take retired judges. If there is lesser strength than Supreme Court wants more judges. Any judge in any High Court of India sitting, that means he is working. He can be called to the Supreme Court and temporarily for like 2 to 3 years, you act like a Supreme Court judge. Okay, this is called ad hoc judges. If the same situation happened in High Court, they can hire retired judges. Somebody may have already worked as High Court judge and retired. Sir, please work for 2 more years. We are having less number of people. Okay. So, Article 127, 224A. So, you can just read these facts. What are the arguments supporting? What are concerns challenging? Like, if you take people, obviously, number of cases will clear fastly. Okay. And because these are temporary judges, nothing will happen to the permanent judges. Their seniority remains. Okay. But what are the challenges? Like, taking more number of judges is not enough. You should ensure infrastructure. And this is not just a judiciary affair. Who will appoint the judges? President will appoint, executive is involved. So you have to keep executive in loop also. Okay. So this is in news, but this has been in news for a while. Why I have included is that this is a typical case study given in ethics. There is a high possibility this kind of case study will be given in ethics this year. See what is happening in this case. In 1984, a tragedy happened in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, Bhopal gas tragedy. It is world worst kind of industrial disaster. Okay, so there is a plant called Union Carbide plant, and they are maintaining regulations very poorly. They are not following any rules, and they are storing dangerous gas. Okay, they are a pesticide company. They are storing very dangerous gas, and because of their poor control, poor regulation, poor operation, that gas got leaked, and many thousands of people died. Okay, this happened in 1984. So they have so much of this liquid, methyl isocyanate. The gas, methyl isocyanate, it is normally in liquid form. When it turns into gas, it is very dangerous. People will inhale. So some methyl isocyanate leaked at the time, and this disaster happened. That remaining pesticide is still there. Remaining this toxic waste is still there. How many years? 1984. Now we are in 2025. 40 plus years. So after this accident happened, they have closed the plant. But whatever the toxic waste left, it is still there. So see what must have happened. First of all, people will still live in the fear. It is still here. What happens? Something happens again. Some fire accident happen. It will again pass on to the habitations again. Another tragedy may happen. And when you keep that there, slowly it will seep into the groundwater. So some people are thinking it is polluting the groundwater. So impacts are still felt. Whether it is past impact or new thing happening, people are unable to identify. So residents are worried. When you will remove this toxic waste? It has been 40 years. Government also has to remove. Someday we have to remove. And this is a very highly toxic waste. We cannot just throw into some river or sea. So government thought we should burn it, incinerate. Okay, the only way to incinerate, burn it. and they have chosen a location called Pitampura. Why this city? Because it is already having enough infrastructure to dispose these kind of waste. Okay, it is already having some kind of infrastructure. You cannot just take some tons and tons of 300, 400 tons of toxic waste in containers to somewhere middle of the desert and you cannot incinerate there. It needs to dispose safely. It cannot go into the ground again. It cannot affect any other human beings. You need some infrastructure for over the next period of few months till you finish this. And the infrastructure is available in this Pitampura in Madhya Pradesh. So they have taken from here to there. But the people who are living around this Pitampura is now worried. You are thinking of people of Bhopal and you have brought it. What happens to us? What happens if it seeks into in our groundwater? What happens if another disaster happens here? So they are now worrying and they are protesting. So what will you do as a government official? What government is supposed to do? There are limitations of safe disposal. And government thought this is one viable location and people here are protesting. Government cannot keep it that way. So this is a typical ethical case dilemma. Okay. So this is the background. Okay. So rat hole mining. So in one of the previous weeks we have seen rat hole mining. So this is the traditional mining. So wherever large quantities of mineral available, you will mine it using proper equipment with proper infrastructure in huge quantities. This is technically, financially viable mining, traditional mining. But what happens if the mineral is not in enough quantities? It's like half feet width, 10-meter length. Very small, you cannot open all that for the small 20 grams of gold or something. So if mineral is available in very less quantity, people resort to some techniques called rat hole mining. Especially in this Meghalaya and other northeastern states. Coal is available in very thin seams. That means small, very less diameter, small lengths, thin seams. So this technique of rat hole mining is prevalent, especially in Meghalaya. Very prevalent. You make a small hole, you send people with smaller sizes. So even children are mostly exploited because they are having smaller sizes. They can fit into these holes. They look like rats' holes. Holes made by rat. That is why it is called rat hole mining. This traditional mining is not feasible here because the mineral availability is less. It is not financially, technologically viable. If you see, 1 year back there is incident also. In Uttarakhand, while some people resorting to this kind of rat hole mining, they got trapped into that. So government has to do a separate operation and take them out. Okay, in Meghalaya this is very prevalent. So NGT banned this in Meghalaya. But it is not just in Meghalaya. First of all, it is a very harmful practice for the individual. It is harmful for the environment also. You have done some hole, you have picked up whatever the coal you have got. Because it is just individual, no equipment. Now I can go into the hole, I will take some 20 kgs of coal, I will sell it outside, I got 3,000, I am happy. I got week's money, I am happy. This is what people are doing there. Illegal mining, first of all, illegal, unsafe, and it is harmful to the environment. Now I have left it open. Some rain comes. What will happen to the groundwater? All the toxic waste will be going into the groundwater. So there are many environmental and health hazards for an individual also. So NGT has banned this rat hole mining, especially in Meghalaya. Okay. Now here a new problem developed. This is still continuing in states like Nagaland, especially in Nagaland. And these people of Meghalaya are seeing Nagaland people are doing it, but they are unable to do it. Why Nagaland is able to do it and Meghalaya cannot do it? Because Nagaland has some special protection under Article 371A. So there is an Article 371A for Nagaland. Under this article, all the minerals and land belongs to the community, not to the government. In other parts of India, minerals belong to the government. and government will make rules and regulation who can use what is legal, what is illegal. But under Article 371A, Nagaland communities will have the power. So they are doing this rat hole mining. We know it is safe. We know it is unsafe. And it is banned by NGT. But as per Article 371A, whatever the laws applicable to the India are not applicable to the state unless that state government particularly passes a special resolution. State government has to pass this Environment Protection Act, this Water Act, this Air Act will become applicable to state of Nagaland. NGT banned this rat hole mining based on Environment Protection Act and Water Act, etc. So because these acts are not applicable to Nagaland, NGT ban is not implementable in Nagaland and they are continuing with the rat hole mining. But people of Nagaland, actually, ideally it should be banned in both. But here they are thinking reverse. These people are doing, why can't we do it? Okay. So now see the thing. Now some people in Nagaland are demanding, please include us also in 371. Okay, you have included us in 6th schedule. But it is not enough. That autonomy is political. Whatever given in the 6th schedule is mostly political. And Chief Minister, Governor and these people can overcome it. 6th schedule. Article 371A gives more autonomy in this kind of things to Nagaland than 6th schedule is giving to the Meghalaya. Okay. So they are asking to include them Meghalaya under 371. So there are soon elections to be conducted in Meghalaya. So some of them are putting this as a demand to include Meghalaya under 371. So they can do rat hole mining. So this is, if you see from Indian government perspective, very funny demand. Okay, so how can government allow to do something which is very unsafe? In fact, if government has a chance, it will stop it in Nagaland. It should be the reverse. Okay. So next topic is criminalization of politics. Okay. So just bear with me. Okay. So much content. I will say this is a gold mine for you. I don't know whether you have read the newspaper for the whole week or not. Almost all the news articles I have covered. Actually, last week also I have left so many news articles from the previous week. I have included all of them in the last week. Okay. Class could not be conducted, but so many news articles, very important, very relevant. Okay. After this class, you do whatever you want to do, but please bear with me in this class. And I am linking. One advantage of having this current affairs on weekly basis is that if some news came in Monday and some relevant news came on again on Wednesday or Thursday, now we can read them side by side. Normally we would read them separately. Okay. So in this way I can club all the similar items. So some people went to the Supreme Court and identified an issue. Sir, we have something called Representation of People Act. And under this, if anyone is convicted of a crime having punishment more than 2 years, let's say I have taken some bribe. I am a government employee, I have taken some bribe from someone and I got caught. So it is corruption. It is a crime. And I have received some punishment, 3 years. So Representation of People Act says this. I cannot participate in election. I want to be elected. I want to become an MLA. I cannot participate in election till my 3 year sentence is continued and 6 years thereafter. 6 plus 3, 9 years. I have to wait till 9 years from today. Today I was convicted. I have to wait till 9 years to participate in the elections as per Representation of People Act. But these people say, sir, the funny thing here is that once I get convicted, I am not eligible for government job throughout my life. Once a person is convicted, he cannot become a government employee again. Even a normal person, once convicted of a certain crimes, he cannot become government employee again. But he can become a MLA MP and come to Parliament and State Assembly. So this is kind of irony, and these people went to Supreme Court. So this kind of thing, why you are putting 6 years? Let's make it lifetime. Once you are convicted of some crime, now let's make a rule that that person will be disqualified from participating in election throughout his life. This is the demand of the petitioner. It is having both sides, but this is a valid question from the Supreme Court. So the debate is happening right now. Should convicted persons be allowed to participate in contesting elections? Because if they win, then they will become the lawmakers. They will make the law. But why they are convicted? Because they broke the law. So law breakers are becoming lawmakers now. Okay, so this is a very irony. Okay, so there is a section 8 of Representation of People Act. So we have two RP Acts, Representation of People Act 1950, 1951. So we are talking about 1951. So if you are committing some serious crimes like UAPI, it is related with terrorism, okay, unlawful activities, corruption, okay, some serious crimes, it does not matter how long you have convicted, like 6 months, even if you are under corruption or terrorism, you are convicted for 6 months, still 6 months plus 6 years. But for any other non-heinous crimes, let's say robbery, you have committed robbery and you are given 6 months jail time, then you cannot contest only for 6 months. That plus 6 will not be applicable. Plus 6 years will not be applicable. For that should be applicable, conviction should be at least 2 years or more. So 2 years or more conviction cases only will invite plus 6 years disqualification, unless you have convicted a heinous crime. In heinous crime cases, your conviction duration does not matter. Your conviction duration plus 6 years will automatically apply. In other cases, only your conviction more than 2 years, then only plus 6 will come. Okay, so this is Representation of People Act. So many politicians have faced disqualification under this clause. Okay, now the petition is to make this lifetime, not just plus 6. So if a person is convicted for 3 years for a crime, RP Act adds another 6 years, total 9 years, that person cannot contest election. Now this petition says, sir, let's make it lifetime. No 3, no 6, no 10. Let's make full lifetime. Okay. So how the whole issue is that criminalization of politics. Number of criminals in politics is increasing. If we see many data, there is an NGO or organization, NPO, called Association of Democratic Reforms. Okay, ADR. It frequently releases data. Like education, we see Pradham Menace report. So you can gather data from this ADR. It frequently releases report. You will have all the data. This and Election Commission releases data. You can use it in mains and essays. Okay. So the data says 46% of present MPs have criminal background. 31 faces very serious charges, rape, murder, etc. So very high kind of criminal rate, if you ask me. And why? How this data come to know? This came to know because some initiatives taken by Supreme Court in the past. So people are worried. Many criminals are becoming lawmakers. So in a case initiated by this ADR only, Association of Democratic Reform, Supreme Court said whoever is participating in election, you should declare your criminal cases. Whatever cases pending against you, you please declare before participating in the election. So that is how now we are getting to know how many cases are pending against whom. So now it was made mandatory. So there was another case law, Lily Thomas. Before this Lily Thomas case, this RP section says, you are convicted, so you will be disqualified for your conviction period plus 6 unless you appeal in a high court. So all you have to do is that once you are convicted, all you have to do is to go to higher court and appeal. Till that case is finalized, whether it will take 2 years, 5 years, 10 years or lifetime, this disqualification will not come into effect. So it says unless you appeal into high court, you will be disqualified. So everybody will appeal in high court. So politicians know how to drag cases in courts, so that case in higher court will not be finalized. That disqualification will never come into effect. So Supreme Court in this Lily Thomas said no. Once you are convicted, you will be disqualified immediately unless higher court turns it back. Now the judgment has to reverse it, otherwise you will be disqualified by default. Previously you are not disqualified unless higher court same supports the previous decision. Now it was made disqualification immediately come into effect. The judgment has to come, they have to reverse it, then only you will be undisqualified. Otherwise disqualification will continue. That means once they are convicted, this period and plus 6 will come into effect immediately. So this kind of reforms Supreme Court initiated to reduce criminalization in politics. Okay, criminalization in politics itself is some important topic in polity. Okay, so this highlight, because of this issue, now many people are putting these petitions before court, but there is a flip side. See, even government said, sir, you cannot compare government employees with MPs MLAs. MPs MLAs only stay for 4 or 5 years. But once a person become a government employee, he will serve lifetime. So, if a person committed a crime and you make a government employee, he will remain there forever. How you are comparing it with a MLA MP who will remain only for limited period of time? So, this is government one argument. Government is saying, no sir, whatever is +6 is already there. You just keep it like that. Please don't make it lifetime disqualification. Okay. And another negative thing here is that, so one person is convicted for 3 years. So, it is more than 2. So, he will receive 3 + 6. Another person committed more heinous crime. He received 10 years. So, he will get 10 + 6, 16. First person is 3 + 6, 9. Another person is 10 + 6, 16. But if you make ban lifetime, both will receive same. This person is facing lifetime disqualification. This person is facing lifetime disqualification. So, you are not identifying the severity of crime. Understood? If a person done something, let's say one person took like 10 lakhs bribe. It is a crime. So, he will be disqualified for lifetime. Another person took 10 crore. It is a larger crime. He will be disqualified for lifetime. What is the difference? There should be a difference in severity of crime. So, this lifetime disqualification also has some kind of negative things. Understood? So, this article talks about both the things, these two. I'm not sure. Here it says 20 as on 2024. 40% of the existing employees. Actually, I did not read the report in this article. Whatever given, I have reproduced it. See, no worries. When you are going to the exam, always you keep updating the data. So, before going to the exam, you will definitely come across the ADR report. In that report, clearly it will be written on which date, among which this percent is being written. Okay. So, don't worry about the exact details of this thing. You gather your own data. I'm just showing you example on how you can use the data. This type of data usually given by ADR, and it is written 2024. Okay. Exactly they are taking whole or existing MPs, I'm not sure. Okay. And here one important point is that, so under this section 8 RPA, disqualification, whatever the conviction period plus 6 years. Now, Election Commission has power, discretionary power to reduce sentence. So, it is a kind of random thing. Election Commission subjectively can decide a particular scenario, this person may not have committed such crime. So, this person's period shall be reduced. Election Commission has some privilege in this. It can reduce the disqualification period. So, some people are asking, this power of Election Commission to reduce disqualification should also be reviewed. Because how can Election Commission decide? Okay, because if you give subjectivity to Election Commission, it will reduce to one politician and not another politician. Okay, so this subjectivity in the powers of Election Commission under this section 8 of RPA is also in discussion. Anyway, Representation of People Act is directly given in the syllabus in paper 2. You have to read the whole act. You have to read analysis of the act. So any news article which is relevant to RPA is very important, because RPA is directly given in the syllabus by UPSC itself. Okay. So read this article in that context. So EC has so much powers. EC is enforcing model code of conduct. EC is conducting elections. Okay. And some this section 8 of RPA, etc. EC is having some powers, disqualification, etc. So EC is supposed to be neutral. EC should be neutral for free and fair elections, which is a part of basic structure of Indian Constitution. Elections should be free and fair, and EC should be neutral. Now, the appointment of EC is under discussion, because tomorrow or day after tomorrow, the term period of present Chief Election Commissioner is being expired. So, some people went to court. So, they said, dear Supreme Court, whatever the procedure followed right now for appointment of CEC, it is not very fair. Please involve in this. People are asking. So let us have a look of how CEs are appointed, Chief Election Commissioner. So before 2023, why? Because in 2023 Supreme Court gave a judgment. Before 2023, in Constitution, there is no procedure given for election of Chief Election Commissioner. It is said President will appoint Chief Election Commissioner. Okay, Part 15 of Constitution. Okay, 324. So Chief Election Commissioner will be appointed by President of India. So if nothing is mentioned, it means President of India will appoint it on the advice of Council of Ministers. That is the by default one. So ministers are appointing Chief Election Commissioner. Ministers belong to a particular party. So they are appointing, consulting no one, no committees, no nothing. So they are appointing a person, and we are expecting that person to be fair in elections. So this kind of criticism. And constitutional authority, very important. Free and fair elections, very basic thing for a democracy like India. But the appointment is political. So people went to court. So there is a fundamental flaw in this particular provision in the Constitution. Please actively involve, reinterpret in the Constitution, uphold the free and fair elections principle of Indian democracy. So in this case law, Anup Banwarlal 2023, Anup Banwarlal versus Union of India. In this case, Supreme Court has given a judgment. Okay, completely leaving it to the executive is not fair, because you will appoint whoever you like and that person will cooperate with you during elections, so on. I will appoint my favorite person as CEC, he will return the favor. Another person I will appoint, he will return the favor, so on continues. So out of this objection, Supreme Court itself took the initiative and appointed a committee. In 2023, Supreme Court said, from now on, Chief Election Commissioner should be appointed by President on the recommendations of a committee. And this committee consists of 3 people. One is Prime Minister, another one is Chief Justice of India, another one is Leader of Opposition in the Lok Sabha. So 3 people. So obviously, here no one collides with each other. Chief Justice, neutral person, Leader of Opposition, tries to oppose Prime Minister always, and Prime Minister, he is single. So 3 people, 3 different unrelated people. So this was thought as a fair mechanism. Supreme Court has appointed this committee. And Supreme Court has said, because there is no law and no procedure given by the government in the Constitution, we are appointing this committee. From now on, if you are appointing CEC, you appoint as per this committee. And in the Constitution itself, it is written that ECs should be appointed on the by the President itself. No procedure for ECs. This is for only CEC. Okay. And EC can be removed. CEC, Chief Election Commissioner, can be removed, just like the judge of the Supreme Court or High Court. It was written in the Constitution. ECs, other 2 commissioners, can be removed on the recommendation of CEC. No need of parliament procedure, etc. No need of going through all the procedure like judge. CEC tells, please remove this EC. Okay, you remove. Okay, so 3 people committee, but 2 people we are making subordinate to the CEC. Okay. But then government did not like it, so government has made passed a law, because Supreme Court has said, because there is no law and there is no procedure in the in the Constitution, we are giving this judgment. So government now passed a law. In that law, government also made a committee. President will appoint CEC on the recommendation of committee, but this committee consists of Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition, but not CJA, but a cabinet minister. Cabinet minister is nothing but a minister appointed by the Prime Minister. That means same person from another same political party, from the same group of ministers, replaced by CJA. So again, domination of executive. Now 3 people, Leader of Opposition singled out, 2 people, ministers, obviously their majority will prevail. But now this is a law. This is in operation. So if Supreme Court does nothing, tomorrow or day after tomorrow, this committee will sit. As per the recommendations of this committee, CEC will be appointed. So that is why these people hurriedly went to the Supreme Court. Now that CEC time is expiring. If you don't do nothing, as per this new committee, as per this act passed by the government, Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners, terms and services of 2023, as per this act, government will appoint new CEC. So please, maybe if possible, restore this. not this. Because here executive dominance, so to prevent this executive dominance, you have done something, but that was restored through law. So your judgment nullified. This judgment was given by a constitutional court. Now it is infructuous. Okay. So Supreme Court to hear pleas challenging validity of CE's appointment law on February 19. But court has given almost 1-2 days later. Tomorrow or day after tomorrow, term is expiring. That means 17-18. CEC is retiring. Maybe he will be appointed on that 17 or 18. But Supreme Court is taking on 19. Okay, maybe Supreme Court is thinking I can apply it from backwards or what. Okay. So we have seen during this Nagaland discussion that even those Nagas are saying our people are across this border into the Myanmar also. So it is a fact actually. Many tribes in this northeastern region share this whole region. Now we have artificially created boundaries like Myanmar, Nagaland, Manipur, etc. But they have families across the border also. So many people have families, relatives. Many people from Arunachal have relatives in Myanmar. Same with some people in Nagaland, same with Manipur, etc. So these people have ethnic and family ties across the border. So you cannot rigidly enforce this India-Myanmar border because some tribes have families and ethnicity connections across the border. So because of this natural reason, which is very natural organic reason, you cannot strictly enforce this like crude Britishers. You have to take sensitivities of people into consideration. So India and Myanmar agreed on something called free movement regime. Okay, sir. Let's draw a boundary parallel to our boundaries between our countries. So within this region, people can move. Like, let's say 40 kilometers from this India-Myanmar border on both sides. 40 kilometers on Indian side, 40 kilometers on Myanmar side. So total 80. Between this 80, people can move. Myanmar people can come into India, Indian people can go into Myanmar. But beyond this 40-40 line, people cannot move. So they will be issued passes to move within this free movement region. This is called free movement regime. We have agreed like this. And it was continuing from almost 1968. But there are some problems with this also. Some negative elements are using this to send insurgents. We have seen Northeast is suffering from insurgency, Nagaland, etc. So people are using this free movement regime to further selfish reasons. So initially it is 40, then it was reduced to 16. Now as of now it is reduced to 10 on either side. 10 on Indian side, 10 on Myanmar side. So it started as 40, but it reduced to 10. If you see in Manipur, this is also in discussion. So many people claim that many immigrants from Myanmar is coming into Manipur and that is one of the reason in these ethnic clashes. So this is a very sensitive region having very complex issues. But this free movement regime is in operation between Myanmar and India from 1968 till now to give this flexibility to these people who have families and ethnical ties between the border. But after this Manipur issue especially, Home Minister of India announced that we will end this free movement regime. No longer we will allow Myanmar people to come into India and allow Indian people to pass into Myanmar. So this free movement regime we will suspend. This is the statement of Home Minister, but no written order was given till now, no action was taken. In fact, recently, total they have agreed like 43 gates to allow people and to give them passes within this free movement region. Some 40 to 43 gates were agreed. Among those gates, 22 gates were already operated. Okay, that is the news. 22 gates allow free movement of people on India-Myanmar border. So it is still in operation. That's the news. Okay, free movement regime between India and Myanmar is still in operation. They have taken some action for that also. But government recently announced that they will stop this free movement regime. Till now, no written order was given. So our border is with Myanmar is 1643 km long. It is guarded by a force called Assam Rifles. Okay, Assam Rifles. In internal security, you will read different forces for different borders. Okay, this Indian-Myanmar border is guarded by Assam Rifles. So these Assam Rifles will issue passes to people who wants to come to visit their relatives, etc. They are allowed only up to 10 kilometers on either side of the border. Next news, nuclear liability law of India. So if you see, nuclear energy is kind of non-polluting, okay, non-fossil fuel energy. So it is preferred because of its scale, but it also has some certain kind of challenges. Infrastructure is very high need and investment is very high, okay, and level of technology is also very high. So usually developed countries like France and US are suppliers of this technology. If India wants to install some nuclear plant, it needs to get reactors, etc., from advanced countries. Okay, no companies are advanced enough to supply safe, proper, sustainable reactors in India as of now. So to operate a nuclear plant, we need all this equipment, and to operationalize this nuclear plant, we have multiple stakeholders like suppliers. There are large companies, industries which supply these parts, and plant operators. Like once these parts supplied, who will operate? Who will produce this electricity on day-to-day basis? If you talk about India, in India, there is a public sector entity called Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited, NPCL. It operates the nuclear plants. So if government wants to put a nuclear plant, whether it is in Kovada, Kudankulam, Jaitapur, wherever it is, NPCL will operate. We will buy it from other countries, companies like France, Rosatom from Russia, etc. Okay, USA. And government will regulate it. Government will put some rules. Okay, like who will pay the compensation if some disaster happens. We are very much disturbed by the Bhopal gas tragedy. So if you see what happened in Bhopal gas tragedy, same company operating same plant in US also. It is a pesticide making plant. Same company, Union Carbide, is having same plant in US also. But the standards company is following, the equipment company has installed in India, is completely different from what is in US, because US has high regulations, proper standards. So it is of world class, very safe, very sustainable. But the plant in India is not a safe one, faulty equipments. So that is why it contributed to the disaster, because India regulation is not so tough at that time. So we are realizing from that past experience. So now India is regulating this nuclear reactors, nuclear plants in a tougher way. Okay, so just understand these are stakeholders, and of course general public living around the plant and civil society. So understand the stakeholders, then you will understand the issue. Suppliers who will give the equipment, etc. I want a plant, but I need to borrow the equipment, reactor, etc. from some foreign company. I need to buy this uranium from some foreign company. I don't have uranium. Then I have some company which will operate the plant from day-to-day basis, which produces this electricity. Then I am the government, enforce rules and regulation. Who will operate? How will operate? What are the timings? What are the compensations in times of damage, accident, etc. Then the people who will get the impact. Okay. So these are the stakeholders. So in international level, there are some conventions like Paris Convention, Vienna Convention, and there is another supplementary convention. These are main conventions. There is a convention on supplementary compensation for nuclear damage. So there are some compensations, there are some conventions. They talk about who is responsible in times of accident. There are many nuclear accidents in history. Chernobyl, there is something called Three Island nuclear accident in USA, and Fukushima in Japan. The whole world witnessed it. Okay, Fukushima is a very large nuclear plant, thought safe, but tsunami came, earthquake came. Everyone watching live, that plant is getting flooded. Okay, same like what is happening in Bhopal. So much nuclear toxic waste was in Fukushima plant. Japan don't know what to do. Japan needed like 30 lakh crores money to clean the plant. And it is nuclear waste. What you will do? Whatever we have in Bhopal, it is toxic waste. It is just toxic. It is a pesticide type of thing. It is a chemical. But this thing in Fukushima is nuclear. Plant is not operated. All the nuclear waste is there. So it happened around in 2014. After 10 years, recently, even it is also in news, Japan took the toxic waste. Japan kind of purified it and mixed it in the sea. In East Japan Sea, if you see. It was also criticized. Many people are worried. Many people are worried about the impact on biodiversity in the sea. People stopped eating the foods also, seafood, etc. China stopped importing fishes from the Japan. Then Japanese president came into the public and he ate a fish from the sea in live before while everyone watching. Just to assure, we have safely disposed of the nuclear waste. We have ensured it is in very less quantity. Water is very high. It is very diluted. It will not impact any organism or humans. It is safe to consume all the fishes and water, etc. in the sea. So same whatever India has witnessed, Japan witnessed in the Fukushima nuclear plant. So all the past experiences from nuclear damages are kind of scary. Now the question is, who is responsible in case of accident? One agency is operating, but what if a supplier given faulty equipment? Like if you see this Union Carbide incident in Bhopal, equipment is faulty. It's not like operation is not the only thing wrong, operation is wrong, but the equipment itself faulty, that accident is bound to happen sooner or later. What if a company gives faulty nuclear equipment? It knows it is faulty, but still out of crave for profits, it has given that equipment, and by operating, some damage happened. So all the international conventions till now support suppliers. They will indemnify suppliers. That means once supplier sold the equipment, it is complete responsibility of the operator. It's like you are going into a cloth store, no refunds. Once you buy it, shop will have no responsibility, whatever happens. It may be poor quality, it may be higher cost, it may have some other defect. Whatever you have to check, you check at the shop. No refunds, no taking back. But this is nuclear plant. People, thousands of people safety we are talking about. But still, all the conventions led by Western countries at global levels are indemnifying suppliers. That means operator will have the full responsibility. Whoever is operating the plant on day-to-day basis, if there is an accident and people need compensation, victims need compensation, who will have to give? Global conventions say whole burden lies on operator. But India has something called Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act, made in 2010. This talks about who is the entity responsible in kind of nuclear accidents in India. We have this past experience from Bhopal gas tragedy. So we have put a clause, right of recourse. If something happens, okay, operator is responsible. But in inquiry, it is found that equipment is faulty. Then supplier is also liable. So India has put a clause which may demand compensation from suppliers also. Understood? We have already seen in most cases suppliers are foreign countries. Companies from foreign. That's why I put the stakeholders first. So operators are liable in any way, in any case. Whether you are putting burden on suppliers also or not, that is the question. All international conventions chose not to put, Indian Act chose to put suppliers also in this loop. That is why many countries across the world, many countries from USA, many countries from France are not willing to give nuclear reactors to India. Because countries are not interested in selling nuclear reactors, etc. We are not able to realize full power of nuclear power in India. But same like China now compelled to build a dam on Brahmaputra, we are also on our way to get more non-fossil energy. We want to reduce non-fossil fuel energies, and we want we want to reduce fossil fuel energies, and we want non-fossil fuel type of energy like nuclear energy. So nuclear energy is very important for us, but companies are not selling. Companies are not selling. Why? Because we are putting this clause. So what government is trying to do now, even in budget, minister has stated that we are looking for removing this right of recourse clause. That means India also thinking like everyone to indemnify suppliers. Okay, so this is the news. What Indian government is thinking. Government plans to amend nuclear liability law. Okay, so that suppliers are indemnified from compensation. So if something happens, only operator will pay. But there is also another article criticizing, sir, this will be a problem. This will be a problem. How you can indemnify suppliers? Supplier then are not afraid to sell faulty equipment. But every supplier is saying my equipment is very safe, very perfect, 100% tested. So this person is asking every supplier, if your product is safe, why you are worried about accidents? If your product is safe, accident will not happen. But you are worrying about yourself, but you are asking us not to worry. So these two articles produce both sides. This is just news, this kind of analysis. Okay, all this about this supplier clause, whether only people who are operating the plant, in India cases it is NPCIL, shall be made liable in case of accident, or suppliers also. If you make suppliers liable, foreign companies are not willing to sell nuclear equipment to you. If you remove this clause, many people are ready. Many companies from America, France, Russia are ready to sell equipment. So this is a dilemma. Public safety or investment. Okay, so this is a dilemma government is facing right now. So India faces a trade-off between foreign investment and public safety. Okay. So we have also already discussed this news last week. Still, it is continuing happening. What is happening in DRC Congo? So last week we have seen. So there is a country called Rwanda. In this, two major tribes. Tutsi and Hutu. So Hutus are the numerical majority, but Tutsi are politically dominated. Traditionally, colonial powers supported Tutsi in their rule. Okay, so they are in minority like 15%, but they are politically so powerful. Even present president ruling for the past 20-25 years, Rwanda is from Tutsi. Okay, so these are like 84%. Rest are other ethnicities are 1% only. So this is from Rwanda. Okay, two communities. But in 1990s, they had a huge genocide in which Hutu radicals, some radicals from Hutu, killed many Tutsi people and all the moderate Hutus who supported Tutsi, who preached equality, etc. So some 8 million people got killed, 8 to 10 lakh some people. So it was called Rwandan genocide 1992. So that mark still is here. Like during this period, when these Hutus are losing war, when Hutus are carrying out this genocide, army led by Tutsi people, Rwandan army dominated by Tutsi people, started fighting back, and they have driven these Hutu radicals into this Congo, eastern part of DRC Congo. Two Congos, we are talking about DRC Congo. Okay, so during this Rwandan genocide, the people who committed this genocide, Hutu radicals, were pushed towards the Congo by the Rwandan military. So these people are still there from there. They have settled here. But at the same time, there are some Tutsi communities living here also in Congo. So again, the same Hutu Tutsi fight is happening here from some years. So a group called M23. A group called M23, it is nothing but a military group led by Tutsis. It wants to fight for the Tutsi people here in this region. So it is just an ethnic fight. Okay, M23 is a military group, rebel group fighting, but the fight is happening inside the Congo. Fight originating is from Rwanda. Okay, so many times in news, you can focus a bit in geography. So a city called Goma. It is a city of Congo, but it was taken by this M23 group. Now M23 controls this Goma. Okay, Goma city where it is in Congo. And this lake here, it is called Lake Kivu. Lake Kivu. Okay, so there are many lakes in Africa. There is a Rift Valley. It is called East African Rift Valley. You will read in geography. So there are some famous lakes in this region. Lake Kivu also belongs to that group of lakes in this Rift Valley, East African Rift Valley. Okay. So the more something is in news, the more depth you have to. First time something in news, okay, superficially you can read and move on. If the same thing comes again in news, now you have to move something in depth. Again, if it comes in news, now you have to read everything about it. Okay, so the number of times it appears, number of depth increases. So this is the news. Starlink satellite internet comes to Bhutan. So news again not so much important. What is Starlink? That is the question. Okay. So Starlink is nothing but internet provider. So in how many ways internet can be provided? So internet can be provided through satellites. Internet is nothing but you are creating a network between computers. You are allowing computers to communicate with each other. That is basically internet. So satellites, using satellites is one way to provide internet. So you send the signal to satellite, it sends the signal to wherever you want to send, using satellites for communication. Another one is fiber optic cables. This is the most efficient method. So fastest communication, most efficient communication using fiber optic cable. Literally cable will take the your signal from here to wherever you want to send. But this needs very high infrastructure. You literally need to lay all these optic cables. If you want fiber optic connection between USA and Japan, you literally have to lay the cables throughout the Pacific Ocean from America to Japan. Literally each and every meter of Pacific Ocean. So fiber optic cables. Another one is using your cables wired, your landline telephones, etc. These can be TV cables, etc. These can also be used for sending internet. Okay, internet services. These are called wired and also wireless. This is what we are using: 4G, 5G, 6G. Wireless, use radio waves, send waves, use antennas, receive them. Okay. Same waves, if you send to space and use satellite, that is called satellite. So there are multiple ways to provide internet service. And what is Starlink? Starlink is satellite-based internet service. Why it is famous? Because among all the services available, it is very efficient, very well covers whole earth. Okay, so it is a game changer for the remote areas. Okay, comparatively lesser cost, lesser delays. It can allows communication between any distant part. Okay, Starlink is nothing but satellite internet. Now it came to Bhutan. Okay. Talks are also going on to bring it to India. Advantage of satellite based internet is that it can go to remote parts where you cannot take this fiber optic cable, where this wireless communication is not reach. Satellites can reach. Okay, because they are on top of earth, they can see any place also. So Starlink is a United States based agency belonging to a company called SpaceX of Elon Musk. Okay. It is a subsidiary of SpaceX. Break. Time saripodemo chustunna. Just 1 hour lo finish chesadam fast. So many news, that's why I'm saying. Okay. Just 1 hour will finish. So next news is something called Arab League in news. Again, news is small. Donald Trump has said something something random, because now he is saying Gaza is so destroyed in this war, so I will take all the people of Gaza to somewhere else and I will rebuild Gaza. For whom he is rebuilding, no one knows. Gaza people is living there, but he wants to send Gaza people outside. Whether it is temporary or permanent, he is not saying. He wants to rebuild, for whom he is not saying. What happens after rebuild, whether Gaza people can come or Israel will occupy, it is also he is not saying. He is saying, I want to relocate Gaza people. So this kind of statements were criticized by some people. One organization called Arab League criticized the statements of Trump. No, you cannot take Gaza people from their homelands. Okay, again, news is not so much important. What is Arab League? It is just a group of countries. So there is a ethnicity called Arab ethnicity. There are people who share common ethnicity called Arabic ethnicity, and they have common language called Arabic language. So these are the countries who feel we are Arab. So you can say in these countries there is a dilemma. Some countries feel African, some countries feel Arabic. Okay, Arabian. So this is the Arab League. So you can see in Sudan right now, There is a region called Darfur. There is a fight going on in Sudan, just like it is happening in this DRC Congo. There is a civil war going in Sudan. Why it is going? It is going on between Arabic groups, African groups. Okay. So these group of countries are called Arab League. Okay. Facts you can read. Okay. So depth of olive ridley turtles. So olive ridley turtle, it is one of the sea turtles of Indian coast, and they visit all these coasts like Tamil Nadu, Andhra, etc. And they are famous because they specially go to these Odisha beaches, Gahirmata beach, etc. They, for a particular season of the year, they specially go to some beaches in Odisha, and they will lay eggs in mass level. Like 10,000 tortoise females will go, turtles female will go and lay eggs at single time, in a close span of few days. It is called Hyderabad. Okay, so this turtle is famous for that. But it's I mean, you can see it in all the eastern coast of India, like Tamil Nadu, Andhra, etc. West Bengal, mostly in Odisha. Every year, because now threats are increasing, some people are intentionally killing them for meat. Now we are throwing so much plastic and so much waste material into the sea. They are killing so many animals in the sea. And also because our unsustainable fishing methods. So fishing, there are some sustainable ways of fishing. So in near the shore, many animals live there. Corals, okay, and corals itself is ecosystem. Many animals and many plants are dependent on corals. So if you want to fish sustainably, stay away from the shore. Go into the depth, some 10 to 20 kilometers into the sea. Then also, don't drag the bottom. Many people will do some technique called bottom trawling. They just don't care. They put something very heavy equipment into the sea. They just drag whole sea floor. So whatever they get, they will catch it. But literally they will uproot all the sea bottom. Many plants, many animals die in that. They just want fish, but they kill all the animals in the process. So this is an unsustainable way of fishing. In fact, if you see, India-Sri Lanka fishermen issue is also in news. It is always in news. So there is a very thin line, India-Sri Lanka maritime border. People will cross. Actually, Sri Lanka people are not so much hurt by fishermen crossing into the sea. They know sometimes it is very difficult to identify for ordinary fishermen to identify the international border. But the problem with Indian fishermen is that they use unsustainable techniques. They come into the Sri Lanka waters and they will destroy all the fish and all the land here, bottom of the sea. So that is why even Sri Lanka Navy frequently shoots on their Indian fishermen. So they resort to these unsustainable techniques. Now, olive ridley turtle is also one of the victims of this unsustainable fishing methods. Okay. This year particularly it is in news because more number of olive ridley turtle deaths are seen. Recently it is seen, it is increasing, but very unordinary, very high number of olive ridley turtle deaths are seen this year. Okay. So it is attributed to the fishing trawlers, unsustainable fishing trawlers, and also increasing marine pollution and waste. Okay. If you ask some basic details about the olive ridley turtle, we have Wildlife Protection Act. We have given levels of protection under that to different animals. It is in Schedule 1. In IUCN, it is seen as vulnerable sites Appendix 1. Okay. So olive ridley turtle always in use. This threats you keep it in mind. Mains question is most probable. So AI is increasing like anything, very rapidly, artificial intelligence. So everyone is worried how to regulate this artificial intelligence. So some group of countries came together and they started conducting some summit called AI Action Summit. How to regulate AI? What are the next steps of AI? Okay, so group of countries, they want to responsibly develop AI. So this year it was conducted in France. In France, there is something called AI Action Summit is going on. Even our Prime Minister attended it. It was co-hosted by France and India together. So in this AI Action Summit, they have adopted a summit, something called Paris Declaration. Paris Summit Declaration or Paris Declaration on AI, artificial intelligence. So this kind of things important, declaration is important. Okay, Paris Declaration 2025 on artificial intelligence. In this, they have decided to keep AI safe and use AI for inclusive development. Let's use it for development of all, not just for few companies, monopoly of few companies, Google, OpenAI, Microsoft. It should not be a monopoly of one or two companies. AI should be used for development of all, and AI should be used for safe. Okay, so they have come up with some list of regulations, and AI development should be ethical. It should be developed in an ethical way. It should not enforce gender stereotypes. It should not enforce racial stereotypes, etc. So they have had a basic understanding in the form of Paris Declaration on how AI should be developed. That means these countries decided this is how we regulate artificial intelligence from here on. But two countries, USA and UK. UK did not agree because USA did not agree. So these two countries said, sir, artificial intelligence should not be regulated. You are trying to regulate it in a certain way, safe, inclusive, ethical, etc. No. There should be less regulation on artificial intelligence. You should prefer deregulation. So these two countries did not sign or support the Paris Declaration, but India supported it. Many countries supported it, including France, China, etc. Okay, USA, UK did not submit AI Action Summit Declaration. Next AI Action Summit will be held in India. Okay, so that is the news. So that Paris Declaration is important. What they have agreed on important. You can quote it anywhere you want to quote in SR or any GS paper. Okay. So while this meeting is going on, France President and Indian Prime Minister have met and they have talked about something called IMEC. Okay. India Middle East European Corridor, IMEC. So what is this India Middle East European Corridor? So China came up with a rapid plan called BRI, okay, Belt and Road Initiative. If you see the map, it is a large connectivity initiative, infrastructure connectivity initiative. China wants to connect to many African, European countries, etc. So it wants to be a global leader in infrastructure. So China is connecting many countries. China is giving them loans. They are levying roads. They are connecting this infrastructure, etc. using Chinese manpower. So China people will get employment, and China is giving loans. China is getting returns on money, and China is getting all the infrastructure which you can use as a future superpower. So it is a master plan from China, BRI. India did not join it, but many friendly countries of India joined it. So some countries are having problem with the growth of China, US, India, etc. Okay, Australia, France, etc. So these Western countries, G7 countries, led by USA, there is a group called G7. Okay, so these G7 countries led by USA, they started something called PGIA. Okay, some infrastructure investment something. Okay, public group from infrastructure investment something. It is a global initiative. It was led by G7. It is a competitor to Belt and Road Initiative. It is nothing but infrastructure connectivity initiative. So as a part of PGIA, now in this India, Middle East and Europe region, we are implementing something called IMEC. Okay, India, Middle East, Europe corridor, economic corridor. So it will connect India, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Israel, Greece, okay, Greece till Europe. So this is a connectivity project. So transport, trade, energy exchange can happen. So this is a part of larger plan, okay, PGIA, which is a competitor to BRI, okay, Belt and Road Initiative. So just France and India kind of reaffirmed each other, especially because Israel is in our plan and Israel is very busy in war. Okay, so because this region now conflict region, we could not implement this IMEC in an effective way because now it is stuck here. So this region should be peaceful for us to have this IMEC successful? You can ask. This is also an impact of wars in West Asia on India. See, India cannot implement this project because there is a war going on here. Okay? Quasars. See, there are many stars like sun. Okay? Stars shine. Why stars shine? Why we see stars in the sky? Because stars will undergo something called nuclear fusion. So hydrogen will come, it gets fused, it will form a larger thing called helium. In this process, so much energy gets released. So that's how stars will shine, including our sun. So these are the stars. They really shine. Whatever is happening real inside them. So they are real stellar objects. Okay? Stellar, that means in space. They are the real objects which shine on their own. And based on the size of the stars, they may become black hole. If stars are very larger in size, and when its lifespan ends, all the gravity collapses on itself. It becomes something called black hole. It's just a hole in the space, black colored, just like that. You cannot see it. It will just take everything in it. It is called black hole. If the size is medium, it will become something called neutron star. Okay? If it is too small, like our sun is too small compared to a star size in the universe, then it will become something called dwarf star. Okay, dwarf star. Just to understand, when a star size is too big, it will become black hole at the end of its life. That's it. What is black hole? Nothing. It is just something that attracts everything. Whatever comes near, including light, it will attract. Nothing can escape its gravity. That is why it is called black hole. You cannot see it. It looks like a hole in the universe. Okay. So stars are the real stellar objects. So black hole is this. When a big enough star expired, now it collapses onto itself. It is having too much gravity, too less space. Imagine sun in the size of a spoon. Whole gravity of sun in the size of a spoon. Too much gravity, too much space. So it attracts everything, including light. Because it is attracting light, you cannot even see it. You will see it when it reflects light only. I am seeing this because it is reflecting light. You are seeing this board because it is reflecting light back. If it cannot reflect light, you will see black color only. That is the black hole. So when a black hole formed, usually it is the first stage of forming of galaxy. So how Milky Way galaxy formed? At some stage, most probably it is having a black hole at the center. Now it is attracting everything. It is attracting all the dust around it. So everything is coming around it. Dust and this interstellar dust, etc. Like a disk. See here, you can see black hole, dust, etc. So slowly it will turn out into remaining stars, planets, etc. That's how a galaxy comes usually. So in this stage, when a black hole, in the early stage, when a black hole at the center and this dust is gathering around it, if you see from far, it looks like a star. In early stages, galaxy not yet formed, black hole at the center, and dust is around getting attracted. A disk like dust. If you see from far, it looks like a star, but it's not a real star. It is just a dust, occasionally emitting energy. Okay, so it is shines, but it is not a star. It is not a real. It is not a real stellar object, but it shines. So it is a quasi-stellar object. So this quasi-stellar object, which shines like a star, but not an actual star, we call it quasi-stellar object, or in shortcut, quasar. Okay. So the news is that our astronauts have found a quasar, which is very old, like early days of the universe, and they are amazed by its size. In this early stage of the universe, we have this much bigger black hole and this much bigger quasar. They are surprised. So that is why news. So what is quasar? It is nothing but the dust gathered around a black hole and shining with the light. Sometimes it's emits energy. So okay, it's called jets. Okay. So these quasars are nothing but early stages of formation of galaxies. Quasi-stellar objects. Normal stellar objects are nothing but stars. Angel stars. There is an editorial here. Okay, on AA only AA submit, but the content is completely not needed. One word may come in prelims or you can use in mains. Angel's pass. What is Angel's pass? So, have you heard of Karl Marx? So, Karl Marx have a very good friend called Friedrich Engels. Karl Marx is from Germany, but because of some reasons, he comes to England, and in England, he finds a friend called Friedrich Engels, who is very much inspired by the ideology of Karl Marx. So, Friedrich Engels always stood as a friend, writing all the ideologies, writings of Karl Marx into English. He himself is kind of a communist. So, Engels says, sir, in 1780s, Industrial Revolution started, and it slowly go on. And till 1850s, it reached its peak. All the people who are putting profits, building factories, earning more profits, investment, factory, more profit, etc. Capital is increasing, money is increasing, rich people are getting richer. But the wages of people are stagnated. There is a pause in the wages of the people. New technology came called Industrial Revolution. People who are harnessing this technology are earning profits, but the profit of workers are not increasing. There is a pause for next 40-50 years in the increase in wages of the workers. He at that time, in this 19th century he is living in, early 20th century, he made this claim. He given this theory called there is a pause in wages when new technology called industrial technology developed, industrial revolution developed. So after some 100 years, some economists have done some other studies. Yes, actually whatever Friedrich Engels said, it is right economically. Historically, there is really a pause in wages of the employees, workers, when this industrial revolution started. So many people say, especially in light of this AA Action Summit, now similarly there is a new technology rising, another technology rising. At that time it was industrial revolution, now it was artificial intelligence. There is a pause in wages of workers for the next 40-50 years. Here after A also there will be a pause. Many people are worried about job losses also, not just a pause. So this article says there is a possibility, just like after industrial revolution, there is a possibility of pause in wages or workers or conditions of employees, low level employees, workers. So you should avert it. Understood? So Angel's pause is nothing but pause in the wages of the workers followed by a rise in a new technology. It benefits higher level people, but not the low level workers. Okay, that is Angel's pause. We can skip this. Okay. So one article on CO2 release. So see, normally in sand there is bacteria. Bacteria decomposes things. Plants, animals, when they die, bacteria comes and decomposes. During decomposition, CO2 gets released into atmosphere. Part of carbon cycle. So this is a normal process. Under normal circumstances, let's say bacteria releases, let's say, for example, I'm saying 10 grams of CO2. But in this article, new study found out that because climate change is increasing, now floods and droughts are increasing. That means seasons of drying and wetting are increasing. Soil is getting wet, again soil is becoming dry, again soil is getting wet, soil is becoming dry. Soil is not remaining stable for longer time. When soil is remaining stable for a longer time, the amount of CO2 released by bacteria, let's say 10. But if the soil gets dries and wets again and again, which is happening because of climate change, global warming, the amount of CO2 released by bacteria may be 20 or 30. It will increase. That is a study. And what will happen if more CO2 gets released into atmosphere? More climate change, more global warming. What will happen if more climate change, more global warming? More wetting, more drying. More CO2. So this is a feedback loop. So because of climate change, there is many feedback loops. Same thing, again results in the same thing, again results in the same thing. Normal circumstances, bacteria decomposition releases less CO2, but if global warming, climate change, frequent wetting and drying happens, more CO2 will come, more CO2, more wetting and drying, again more CO2. So it is a self-sustaining cycle, ever increasing. This is called positive feedback loop. So you can read this factual thing. There is a something called International Criminal Court. Okay. Now, see, usually it sanctions individuals, but Donald Trump, President of USA, is so powerful, and individual sanctioned the court. He is putting restrictions on the court. He is banning the court. Okay, so just to have a look at what is ICC. One of the criticism of ICC even before the sanctions is that it always focuses on weak people, weak countries, African countries. If some random warlord in Africa does something wrong, it will punish it. But it cannot punish like people like Trump or some European leader or some powerful people. So in fact, we are seeing powerful people punishing ICC. But ICC always punish poor countries, warlords. Okay. So criticism of ICC is that you are always focusing on Africa, Africa, Africa. You never care about the human rights violations, etc. in Europe and America. So read factual thing about ICC. Okay. Its weakness and criticism. Okay. So one recent judge, Supreme Court judge, has made some comments. This, especially in recent Delhi elections, all the parties competed. This is a growing trend in every election. In recent elections, all the parties like Aam Aadmi Party came, we will give 2001 rupees to every woman. Why you will give money to women? We will give. So women are normally seen as vulnerable section, but not every woman. You can say all the women belong to the poor family or belong to the vulnerable caste, we will give. All women free money. BJP came, we will give 2005 rupees to all women. Congress came, same thing. So even in Telangana, we have seen free bus ride to all women. In Tamil Nadu, in past, we have seen free TVs, distribution of free TVs to everyone. In Punjab also, free electricity scheme is there. So there are some things which are given to not to targeted people who need it, to everyone just before election, just to gain short-term political gains. These are called freebies. Okay, so Supreme Court judge is saying by giving freebies, we are making people lazy. So he used some extreme words. Anyway, this news is not important. Another article also came. Okay, so our freebies and welfare schemes are different. Whatever you give to poor people, is it freebie? Everything is freebie. Doesn't poor people genuinely need something like ration we are giving to poor people. Midday meal scheme we are giving to students. Is it a freebie or welfare scheme? So there is a thin line separating these two. Something are genuinely needed, helpful to people, okay, benefits India in the longer term. If children are given good meals, you are creating healthy human resources, they will contribute to India back in the future. So what is a freebie, what is a welfare scheme is kind of in debate, okay. So you can say there are some differences, okay. This PPT you can take factual thing and read. Simply I will put freebie is something done for short-term political gains. It will not benefit a country in the long term. It is also not so helpful for the individual in the long term. One day, 2 days, okay, it will satisfy the needs of individual. After that, nothing. Like you distribute free TVs, free bus rides to all women. Why bus rides to all women? Put some income limit, put some cash limit, give targeted benefits. Okay, free bus travel to all women, free electricity to everyone. Okay, free TVs to all, free cash to all women. These kind of things are freebies. On the other hand, MG Narega, midday meal scheme, PM Kisan, these kind of targeted things which are given to specific vulnerable people under certain conditions will benefit country back. So those are welfare schemes and they are necessary. They contribute to social justice. It is the duty of the state. It is the ethical responsibility of the state to do that. Okay. So there is a thin line. Sometimes it is very hard to say which is a freebie, which is not. Okay. So that is why even Supreme Court cannot regulate it. Who will decide what is a freebie, what is a welfare scheme? Okay. It is subjective. So in budget you will usually see, so when every budget is produced, budget is nothing but union government is explaining its expenses and receipts to the parliament. Parliament is legislative, government is executive. Budget is nothing but executive explaining its expenditures and receipts to the legislative and asking permission for next year's actions. So government needs some income. It needs to collect income from people like direct taxes, indirect taxes, income tax, corporate tax, GST, etc. But government cannot collect without the permission from parliament. No tax can be collected without the say of law, Article 265. Okay. At the same time, government wants to spend. Government also needs to give explanation to the legislature. Okay. So government expenditure is subject to any law made by the legislature. So on one hand, you need to take permission from legislative for all the income you are getting. You need to explain your expenditures to the legislature. So for this purpose, usually government will pass 2 acts every year. Every budget you will hear something called finance bill, which talks about how I am going to collect my revenue. What are the changes I am going to make to my tax laws, etc. Finance bill. And there will be another bill called appropriation bill. Appropriation. 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 This talks about expenditure. This is how I am going to spend all the money. So one is finance bill, which is nothing but taking permission to collect money from people. Another one is appropriation bill, explaining the expenditure of the government. These are the 2 bills usually produced in the budget session. Okay. This is static part I am saying. This year, in addition to the finance bill, what are the changes government wants to make to acts, to taxes, government can make through finance bill. Government can make changes to finance bill, income taxes rates will automatically change. No need to separately make changes to income tax act. But this year, because income tax became so much complicated, especially with the recent changes, apart from finance bill, appropriation bill, government has also brought another act, Income Tax Act 2020, Income Tax Bill 2020. Okay. Every year only 2, this year a third one also. Okay. This is nothing but there is already an act, Income Tax Act 1961. Now government is bringing a new bill. We have to see whether it is replacing or just making changes or just an amendment. So there is a country called Liberia is in news. Its president is conducting a anti-corruption drive. So it is in news. Liberia, it is bordered by Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, Guinea. It is in West Africa. Okay. West Africa, Atlantic Ocean. You can see. Okay. Liberia is in news. You can see. And these 3 Baltic countries is also news because see these 3 Baltic countries called Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. These are historically part of USSR, Soviet Russia. So when Soviet Russia broke up in 1990 into 15-16 countries, these are 3 countries also formed. But after that, they have completely moved towards Europe. Once they were part of USSR, but now they are moving towards a group of Western countries led by USA. So they became part of NATO. NATO is very much in news. These 3 Baltic countries, which are called Baltic countries, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. These 3 are already part of NATO. These 3 are already part of European Union. Okay. So you can focus a bit on geography also. This is called Baltic Sea. Okay. Gulf of Bothnia, Gulf of Finland. Why it is in news? Now there is a power grid connecting Russia and these 3 countries till now. Now they have separated from that power grid also. So they are slowly moving. Infrastructure also now they have separated from Russia. They are moving towards the Western bloc completely. Okay. So we have already discussed there are some issues between governor and some state governments. In Tamil Nadu, the Tamil Nadu government went into Supreme Court highlighting how governor intentionally delaying some bills. So it is sub judice. Supreme Court is overseeing right now. In few days, you can expect a significant judgment on this. Okay. So that's it. We have finished this week's news. Okay. Take the PPT, both PPTs. Okay. You don't have to write this again. You keep this. You add your notes to this. And so much static part. What are the static part? You add to your notes also. Okay. Thank you.